we had a neighbor. Few of you might know her, Samiksha Agrawal. I'm sorry. So Samiksha Agrawal. So she was my DB. She's my DB. So she said, if you know something, it should be helpful for someone. So that was her lifestyle, her things, and actually inspired me. And she said, what is the use of having knowledge if you're not implementing it on ground or for people? So it's very important thing. So she made me feel like you are blessed if you know this much. Everyone studied. We were 40 students. Everyone studied. Everyone cracked that exam, and everyone passed, and they got jobs. Everyone, even I got job. But she made me feel like you have a blessing. Like this is a blessing to know about first aid. Everyone should know about first aid, and you are the one who knows the technicality, like the basic core knowledge of it. So you can connect it to disease condition, you can connect it to their situations. So it's like a holistic approach. So then I realized that she's right. But until I started doing it, that hesitation, that fear of that I might kill someone if I will do something for them, or why I have to touch someone's blood, or like the panicking, that I used to panic. So until those things were there, the other things were not going along. So once, when I have removed that fear, she helped me to remove that fear from things. So then I got to know, yes, I can do this. Whatever I have studied, practiced, so I can actually implement it on ground. So I got to know because of her. So she is the reason, I'm talking only about first aid. She is the reason behind this, that I started implementing it on ground. I started helping people on roads, and I did it for them. I had a few, I have memories, I call it good memories. Like I have, she was staying in Kanha, so where I have given first aid for fourth degree burn. It was 4th-stage burn. So it was like everything was involved in that burn, and I had given first aid to that 16-year-old girl. So that was suicide. She attempted, and I have helped her, and she survived for 4 days because it was critical. So, but yeah, she encouraged me. She said, "Now this is the chance you have to do this." So she said, "I'm here. You fail also, you pass also, no problem. There's no one to help her. You are the only person who can help," and I actually helped that girl. So I felt good. So this is all about why I came to this like how I started this first aid, doing it on ground, and introduction. But like I'm a nurse, I'm a nurse. So I did my graduation from MS Ramaiah. Otherwise, I studied in Nagpur. So after that, I am working right now with Apollo as a patient relation executive. Initially with Shadripur, now with Apollo Bannerghatta. And yeah, that's also, when it comes to my hobbies, I have nothing to share. The pictures, I forgot to add it in the slides. So I like doing crochet, so making shawls, frocks for newborn. And then I made one frock for 1 kg and 300 gram baby. I made a small tiny frock for her. And I am doing counseling for it's a medical term we call DNR, do not resuscitate. So there are some patients, there are no hopes or there are no prognosis for them to recover. So that's why we have this, I do counseling for them, that if they are going, let them go peacefully. So I am specialized in that kind of counseling when it comes to critical care and ICU care. So that's all about me. Vilaji?
Yes. You can share your photos of your crochet photos. We will share it to people.
Yeah. I will share with you. You can share with me.
Yes, sure.
I forgot to.
And also, you'd like to share that your punch dialogue, what you say, how is first aid important for everyone?
Yes, so this is next.
So start.
Yeah, I think few things I have already told, but it is very important for everyone to know about first aid. It's not only kids should know or adults should know. In our country, we are still like we have accident like highest accident rates. So because of the geography or because of the we are just we are growing still our roads or everything is under construction. So there are many reasons for the accidents in India. So when it comes to accidents or when it comes to household accidents because of lack of awareness, so those accidents are happening. But that is parental part. When it comes to Planned Parenthood and these all trainings we do for Planned Parenthood trainings before the conception also we do certain training and after and then for toddlers for teenagers we have different trainings like Red Cross has and Rotary Club is doing. So everyone is doing that, but it's most important. It should come from you that you want to learn. There are many things in the society, or many organizations are there, many NGOs are there who wants to help people. Or this is all we are working towards in order to reduce the accident rates, be it its household, because someone's beloved one should not get hurt. And someone like, or we can save someone's life, that is a different kind of happiness it gives when you save someone's life. So it's very important for everyone. Everyone should have a training, at least basic training of first aid, because if we have life, we should have a quality life. Someone meeting accident, losing their leg, and or living a life with the misery like a vegetable. So that is not the thing which anyone should go through. So if we want someone not to go through that, you never know that few minutes of first 5 or 20 minutes or 1 hour of first aid. You can give first aid stream like for 1 hour. After 1 hour, it's still you are not able to resuscitate someone, then you have to put your feet down, like okay, we cannot help them. So for that particular time, you should be well equipped when it comes to mental preparation, when it comes to the educational preparation, when it comes to you should be equipped. You should be having a holistic approach. Okay, so we will talk about few things between the first aid session also, and we will discuss everything about the first aid. So for kids, it is very important. Why? Because parents are busy with their work. Parents can be busy with their jobs or household work, or there are multiple things for parents to do. So if it is kids will be having little leisure time to enjoy with the thing. And when they have leisure time or they want to explore everything, they want to experience everything, they want to experience the adventures. So there are chances, I'm not saying they should not do that, they should do each and everything, whatever they want to do. But they should know the pros and cons of that. They want to try something, they should be very clear in their head, if I'm going to try this can be the consequences of that. This also can be the consequences. So where it comes the first aid. So in case, if this will go wrong, if I'm trying to learn something, and if this can go wrong, and I want to touch that pet, and if in case this pet will bite me, okay, no problem. I know what to do, or what will be the first aid. Okay, I'll manage. So don't restrict yourself. If you want to have a unrestricted life or you want to explore more, you should have this knowledge or that you should have this in your pocket. So this is very important. So that easily they can explore anything, whatever they want to experience. And because I think I'm done with
As we all say that it's individual responsibility to be safe and feel safe. So that's how first aid is our pocket. You must be now pocket-like money to use it.
Yes. So, so we will start with the slides.
Yes, yes.
I'm going to be a little theoretical, but with the pictures, they can imagine why, because I don't have people to help me for the demonstration. Why I did my last class was in Arohi campus. So there we were like a team. So we just did that mock and we demonstrated, and it was nice. But I'm alone and I have a small baby to help us if in case it is required. So yeah, I will start with birds.
Yes, Rutu.
Nilaji, everyone can see this?
Yes, yes, we can see.
Okay, so we will talk about birds. So can we make it interactive? Like we can talk to someone like what all kind of birds they in case they have experienced in their life. Can they share those incidents with me? So it will be easy for us to.
Burns while cooking.
Yes.
When my son
burns when we are bursting crackers.
That's good.
Yeah, when my once so happened that my son was very young and he accidentally poured hot tea on him.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, even burns can happen by getting heat from the. Suppose when you're putting dosa, it has happened to me. By mistake, I touched the pan, burn on my hand. Or directly, if you by mistake keep your hand on the fire.
Hot oil. Boiling oil, I mean.
So
Something made of steel, right? After and like something made of steel and you just put into fire and you touch it right after that.
So I think most common burns we have already discussed. What can be the causes? But when we study some disease condition in medical field, we talk about burn. What is burn? And second is the causes. So we will go with that same sequence. So it will be easy for everyone to understand because the causes are already over. So everyone told like a kitchen burn while cracking crackers or while bursting crackers, or in the kitchen with the oil, with the tea, with the milk. So these are the very common thing where we actually need to do some first aid. So these are the situations where we have to do first aid. So now I think causes are over. So I will talk about what is burn. Okay, and the degrees of burn. Give me 1 second. I have phone only to the reference. So yeah, this is where we will explain you what to do and how you can assess. The first we have discussed 3C. So first was check. So first we checked and it is a burn. So you can see that there was a hot water, there is a utensil near the baby or a boy or a girl, and or there's a oil, a hot oil, or there's like you can see the crackles. So when you check, you have to check for everything. What is the cause? So this is the thing which is the cause. This is a hot tea, okay, which had caused this burn on my hand or on this baby. So we have a baby here. So this is the cause. So when you see this is the situation. Everyone can see me?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the victim. Okay, this is the baby, and this is the hot tea. Okay, so when I will come and I'll come from outside. Okay, I'm coming from outside, and there's a baby. So I saw, okay, there's a hot tea spilled on the ground, also on baby's hand also. So I got to know there's a burn. Okay. So what I have to do first, I have to remove this from the what we call in medical field because there are different terms. Okay. So we will remove this from the site. And second is we have to see the site. Oh, I started first. Okay. I'll just describe this first. So there are 3 stages of burn. So this is our skin. You can see those hair follicles. And we call the first layer of our skin is called epidermis. Under that, the second skin, this is epidermis. This is superficial skin where our hair follicles will be there. So second is dermis. Dermis is the second layer of under the skin where we have nerve endings or the nerve which is connected to the brain and the blood vessels which is supplying and keeping this part alive. And under that we have third is subcutaneous tissue. Subcutaneous is like what we call in normal like jargon subcutaneous is underlying fat under our skin, our muscles, and so those all things. So after comes the blood vessel, nerves, hair follicles. So these all after that comes the muscles. So there are first is epidermis, second is dermis, and third is subcutaneous tissue. Subcutaneous tissue includes the fat and muscles. Okay, so when you see the superficial skin is burnt, so this is a first degree burn. When the involvement of burn will go till this dermis, the second layer of our skin, and then where the blood vessels will shrink, where the nerve endings will shrink, and brain will get the message that there's a burn. Even from the epidermis also they can get it because we have only nerve endings going there. So we get a message like if this cup is hot and I have touched this cup by mistake, it's very hot. Immediately, fraction of seconds, the message will go to your brain, move your hand, it will burn. So we just immediately we do like this. So see the speed of the message traveling to your brain. So this is the thing. And second is, if it is burned already, the epidermis and dermis, when it is involved, the first degree and second degree is most painful burns. Why? Because we have very good nerve supply to the brain from that particular part. But when it comes to subcutaneous tissue, the third degree burn, which includes subcutaneous fat and everything, so there it is the nerves are thick and they will burn. So they will stop sending messages. So patient might not feel too much pain, but because of the burn, they will be dehydrated. Right? Because when there is a fire, because of the fire, the hydration of skin or anything. If there is a fire, you keep water for more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes or above 40 degrees, it will start evaporating. So it will get over. So same thing will happen to skin also. It will become a rubber. Why? Because the hydration, the fluids, we have many different kind of fluids, intracellular fluids, extracellular fluids in our blood cells, tissue cells and everywhere. We have fluid. So that the whole fluid will evaporate and this will become as a rubber. So there we can see that picture of burn like we saw. I don't want to show to kids those pictures. So that kind of pictures you'll get to see when it comes to second degree and third degree burns. First degree is like all redness. So the involvement of upper skin is first degree burn. Involvements of second, like underlying tissues, is called second degree burn. And third is when you can see the bones, muscles clearly. So that is called third degree burn. And these are the causes for the burn. So now when you got to see that, okay, this is the baby and this is the tea and tea is filled on baby's hand. Now you have to see that it is mild or severe. What they said, check it is mild or severe. We call it assessment. First stage of any procedure is assessment for medical field. And for you guys, out of those 3 C, first C is check. It is mild or severe. If it is mild, I'll teach you what to do. If it is severe, you have to shift the baby or the victim or casualty to hospital.
What is mild? What is mild?
Haji?
What is mild?
Mild, yes, I'll explain you. Mild is first degree burn. First degree burn and little involvement down also can be treated at home. But when it comes to second degree and third degree, we have to shift the victim to hospital in that case. But we are from Indian culture, so there they believe like burn हुआ है, कोई problem नहीं है, घर पे रखेंगे. So they treat second degree also sometimes at home. They don't bother to take them to hospital because especially when we have grandparents at home, they have some home remedies for those things. So they try to treat second degree also at home. But most of the time, what I have experienced, second degree not treated properly and with the what we call aseptic techniques. Okay, aseptic means there is when we. I'll explain you what is aseptic techniques. Please remind me if I forget to explain you what is aseptic techniques. So we don't treat it properly. Those patients, not today, but after 1 week with infection, they land up to hospital. They come to hospital. They come to hospital to get treated with the infected wound. So only first degree is the burn which I will recommend you to treat as mild. But rest 2 degrees should be treated as severe. Why? Because if someone is doctor or a nurse or from medical field who have experienced before these things before, they can go for the second degree treatment also at home. But rest have to go to hospital or for care center.
Yeah.
So first is mild, second, third is severe.
Yeah.
So if it is mild, you have to stay at home and do what the basic first aid has to be done, and rest have to be shifted to the hospital. So this is the thing which we have to do when this is mild. So this is the baby we have checked on him and he or her. So it is mild. Okay, the tea was not extremely hot or water was not very hot, but there's a redness on the skin. I can see. When I checked, I can see the redness. I have to see few things. One is this is the baby. This is the first check. Second is where affected part. So this is left hand is affected. Okay, and what is the degree of burn? This is first degree of burn. So these 3 things are clear. Now we have to do action. Okay, so the third thing is what to do. First, we have to, this part was covered, so we have to expose the part. Okay, so we can see this hand clearly now that there is a burn.
Rupal, can you stop sharing the screen so we can see your demonstration clearly?
Okay. Oh, they can.
Just stop and then you can. No, you can just stop sharing. In screen share, when you click on screen share. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, I'll start from, I thought like everyone is doing it. This is first time.
No issues, just for clarity.
Okay, so I will start. Like, I'm a mom. So I'm coming from kitchen and I saw my baby. I kept a cup of tea next to him by mistake. So which many people make those kind of mistakes. So I by mistake I have kept the tea in. Okay. So I saw my baby crying. So that's why I came. Baby was crying. There was a cup on the side, and I saw this left hand. So when I come, I check on my baby. My baby is crying. Second, I check there is a spilled tea on the floor or on the bed or on the table or wherever it is. So there's a cup of tea and I can see that how much tea is spilled. So there is 30% is on the floor and rest 20% is on the baby's hand, and there is nothing in the cup. There is too much in the. So that's over. So now I have seen this is the hand which is affected. So the left hand is affected hand. This is a baby, crying baby. Second is the side is left hand. And then you have to expose the part and do the check on it's mild or severe. If it is mild, I'm going to treat this baby at home. If it is severe, I'm going to take this baby to hospital. Okay. So this is first degree burn according to me. So I'm a nurse. So I know this is first degree burn. So when this is a first degree burn, first I have to expose the site of burn. So this is the site. So I can carry my baby like this. I have exposed this side. So what I have to do, I have to arrange water here, or otherwise I have to take my baby and open the tap and put this hand under the tap. So running water, under running water. So once, even the baby will feel fine after running water. Why? Because it should be like normal water, not cold water. Don't use fridge water or cold water in order to like और भी ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा. There is nothing like that. Normal water will do. Why? Because there are two variants when it comes to there are two different temperatures. Okay, one is body temperature and one is the temperature of this. So the normal water will work well. Okay. Then third is, now we have washed this part and baby is little calm because of the running water. We felt good. So now we have to dry that part little and apply a sterile bandage because the redness is there. So we don't want that part to get exposed to infection. Okay, like dust. When it comes to outside, it's a dust. And there are many things. So we don't want anything to get stick to that particular wound. Or might be there will be a blister also in later stage. So in fraction of like in 10-15 minutes, the blisters also will start forming. So that time you have to cover it with a sterile. We don't have anything here, so we have to cover it with the sterile bandage. Okay, and then give painkiller to the baby. If in case the baby is crying with the pain, give the painkiller. Or this is for everyone. It is for adults also the same thing. So you just have to first come assess the site, see what has caused the burn. That means assessment. We have to do or severe. If it is mild, then start the treatment. Expose the site. Put under the running water. With the particular site, the affected site, and then bandage or cover it with the sterile dressing and give painkiller or the milk or water to the baby. So this is done.
Rupal, we are reaching 11:40. So do you want to make it little?
Sorry. Okay. So I think you all okay. Yeah. So the next is severe. So when it comes to severe, I have told you you have to shift the victim to the emergency ER department. So there are few preventions. I'll just read it out for you. So how to prevent burns at home or around the area, especially with kids. Be careful when using candles, space, heaters, and iron. Maintain distance from radiators. So be alert around hot drinks. So this is our responsibility when we are at home. Check the temperature of bathing water beforehand. Most of the burns will happen in bathroom. So with the babies, because sometimes some babies are very sensitive, some kids are very sensitive, or sometimes we put rods in the bathrooms to heat the water, or sometimes the only geyser switch is on or the tap is on, so only hot water will come. So that can cause burns in the case of toddlers also. So then install smoke alarms at home if possible. Do not allow young children to play in kitchen while someone is cooking. This is most important. The last one. Okay?
Yes, so we can move on.
Yeah. So the next is, this is like theoretically I'm talking because we don't have much time. So yeah, this is what we call insect, stings and bites. So this you can see that a spider will bite you, or this will be the mark, or if mosquito bite, ticks bite, bug bite, and bee bite. So these are the different kind of rashes you get, or the symptoms you get, or the reactions you get when these insects will bite. Okay, so if in this case, kids who are allergic to some kind of insects, stings and bites, they have to be immediately, if there's a known one, like they have already experienced before, they have to rush to hospital. In that case, if they know that this is the insect and he has allergy, especially from this, so then you can immediately send them to hospital. So unrest, rest I will explain how to manage it at home. So this is 5 cardinal signs of inflammation. This I shared, discussed with Arohi in the last session also. So first is when anyone, like even mosquito, or even when you get hurt. So this is the first thing which will happen. So we call it anaphylactic reaction in medical field, and normally these are the in normal language what everyone can understand is the inflammation. So when someone, there was a mosquito and it had sting here, so immediately there will be a pain, which is the sense you will get, and then it will go to your brain and you get to know, okay, someone had bitten me or like this. And second is heat. That particular part will be little warm. You can touch that particular part, it will be warm. Third will be, it will slowly develop redness because of the blood supply. And fourth will be swelling. Slowly there will be a bump or small swelling will be there. And the last will be loss of function. That particular area, or if it is on your finger, you cannot move that finger for some time, while the movement will be restricted because of the swelling and pain. So heat and redness will not hamper the the functions, but pain and redness will. So these are the 5 important signs of inflammation. Any kind of hurt, whether even mosquito bite, even when we bump our head, like sometimes we land with this wall or we get hurt on our head. So that time also this happens.
Yeah.
The first is pain, heat, redness, swelling, and loss of function. These are our 5 fingers. This everyone should know. You can experience with the next mosquito bite. So last time when we did Arohi, till evening everyone was coming. See, I got hurt here, and this is even the mosquito bite. So they were showing me, okay, this is the sign. So everyone got to know. This was very clear to everyone when they got mosquito bite in the night.
Yeah.
You want to say anything?
Yes. If you can share how to take care, then we will give little time for them to ask question. Hiren had a question, I guess. Sorry?
What do you want me to do?
Hiren had a question. He raised his hand. Hiren, you have a question?
Please ask.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, no issues. You can continue. So it's 11:45. Another 5 minutes. You can share what do's and do nots of the first aids, and then we can open it for questions, Drupal.
So I will discuss only preventions otherwise. So those are kind of do's and don'ts of. So these are the preventions. These are the don'ts. So they should not walk barefoot in the grass, or should not go to the places where insects are breeding or they are living there. So it's their zone, and don't touch the places where there is a doubt that there can be something like the spider or insects or any kind of insect can be there. So this is the prevention. So, Neelati,
Yes.
I didn't get you what you said before, like how I have to go.
You have 3 more minutes. So do's and do nots of first aid if you want to share important stuff.
So do's and don'ts comes with the particular, like if it is choking, so what you should do and what you should not do.
Okay.
So if it is choking, don't force them to. If it is choking, don't force them to cough. Okay, so it can be choked and it can go a little more further and choke the trachea, like the windpipe. And when it comes to do's, there are many things we have to do. We have to practice this. This is enriched manure. We have to do in choking. Okay, this is the only thing which we can do when it comes to choking. And the only thing we should not do is we should not ask them to cough. If they will try to cough, it can actually block the windpipe or it can go to another, like it can puncture anything. So next was poisoning. In poisoning, yeah, these are the things we should not do. We should not keep medications or anything like within the reach of kids. We should not use the containers which we have used for food, and we should not use those containers to keep any like phenyl or anything. Like sometimes in the Bisleri bottle you keep acids. So those all things we should not be doing. We should not be using the food product box or the containers for anything else, like for the hazardous things. And never put poison on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nosebleed, most important thing is we should not ask kids to lean back. We have to ask them to lean forward so that the flow should not choke the nose. And we should, for 10 minutes, we have to press the soft part. Under the bone, the soft part is near the nostrils. So we have to press that particular part. That's all for 10 minutes. If in 10 minutes still the bleeding is not stopping, we have to ship the patient to hospital. And then comes this, mostly the nosebleed will happen in dehydration cases or where the direct exposed to the hot air. So we have to keep our kids or everyone in the family member hydrated so that nosebleeds will not happen. To prevent dryness of nose, we can put saline drops, normal, and we should discourage them to not to pick their nose or cut their nails properly so that they should not cut the skin. So this is the first aid for minor cut dressings. So first we have to wash, second we have to put the band-aid, third is we have to do the dressing for them if band-aid is not enough. Savlon we use, why? Because it's less painful. Dettol is like it burns. So Savlon we have to use, or we can put betadine, or if we have sulfamycin, we can put that particular part, the cut part. So betadine and sulfamycin we use in order to that wound should not infect. And transfer the victim to hospital. This is for the people when you travel. For the safety, ask for help. So call, when the second C is call for help, assess, check, and care. So this is check, like it's right or wrong to help or what is going on. Second is help call, and third is care. Third C is care. And this I have just made. So yeah, this is, you can change someone's life if you have very clear goals of giving them first aid. If you want to give them first aid. So you have to have a balance between your mind and between your brain and your heart. That you want to help someone or not. If you are not prepared, don't go to help them, just call for help. So if your mind is saying, okay, yes, I have the plan, so you can go and help them, put it in action. Don't seek for the success, just progress. Just do something there, at least call for help. Take only evaluated, like risk. Don't take too many risks over there. Why? Because sometimes it's risky, so it's difficult. And the key is in your hand. You want to save them or not. And this, always never miss the opportunity to educate yourself when it comes to first aid. Try to attend the classes, try to read more about it, and it will be very good if you get certified as a first aider. So there are many certification courses which you can do to become professional first aider. So it will be very helpful so that you can help someone. And after helping someone, you have to check your to-do list. Like, okay, these are the things I'm supposed to do. I have done. If I have not done, if next time I will have the opportunity, I'll do it. And the last is, you are a part of team if you are a good first aider. So we'll discuss now.
Yeah. Anyone wants to know any particular about the first aid or any questions related to first aid, you can ask now with Rupal. Sorry, Rupal had to just hurry up in the last minute.
That is actually, everything is there online. Most important is,
yeah, you can share the slides, so we will post it.
Yes. So questions?
So, Rupal, how do you differentiate between first degree burn and second degree burn? By seeing?
By seeing, if the skin is intact, it's a first degree burn. If the skin is shallow or blistered, and blisters are busted, sometimes it will become like the crumb paper. So that is called second degree burn. Why? Because the first layer itself will become will cause blisters. So after that is gone, epidermis is gone, means under is subcutaneous tissue. So subcutaneous tissue, there will be a depression, groove, or you can see it's a wound. It will look like a wound. So that is the, or when the skin started shedding out, it's a second degree burn. What we get in kitchen, they said while doing that dosa and all. So if you touch some surface, most probably you will get only first degree. But if some oil, hot oil, in like big, well, like it's more. It's more than 5 or 10 ml. So then it's definitely second degree burn. That pain they cannot bear. That will be extremely painful.
Okay. Adva, you were asking about some mild and severe. Now, did you get the meaning of Adva mild?
Yes.
Okay. Mild means the 5 signs I have shown of inflammation. Those signs you can clearly see in that particular part. So that is first degree burn. Like signs for everything is same. Even be for sting bite or snake bite or for everything. It is same.
I've seen people who got second degree burn. One person poured sambar, hot, just made sambar.
So how the wound was looking?
It was like crumpled. Yeah, like that. Could not see anything else, but it was crumpled.
Yes. So that kind of burns, what you have to do is call 108 if there is no one, or otherwise call someone if someone is at home. Who was that person?
I don't know the person. Even when one day something happened, so even I went to the hospital, I saw that person in the hospital.
Oh, in hospital. So that patient was already shifted to hospital.
Yes.
So see, someone took right time, right decision to shift the patient to hospital, and he got cured. So that is our part from next time. We have to do that. We have to shift the patient to hospital if it is second degree. Otherwise, we know what to do at home.
Do you want to demonstrate how to take care in terms of food gets choked or something like that? How we can help?
Yes. So when it comes to choking, so you know the symptoms, like there will be like, if it is they are choking means it's this front one, what you can touch is like C shape. These are cartilages. This is our windpipe. The front one is windpipe, behind comes is food pipe. Okay, we call it esophagus. This one is trachea. So if something gets choked here near this inside this trachea, the windpipe, so they will do like this. They will not be able to breathe, so they will be choking. So what you have to do is, in that case, if you know that the kid was eating candies and there's a choke with the candy, you have to see the same thing what we did with the tea. So what is on the ground next to the baby, or he was eating and he ate too much of food. Okay, so in that case, what we have to do is we have to hold the person. This is we call Zipfi sternum, where the bony part gets over. This is bone, and this gets over here. So this is called Zipfi sternum. It gets over here. You under that you have to keep one fist. Okay, on that you have to with right hand. Yeah, with left hand fist, right hand, because we can put more pressure or we can apply more pressure with right hand. So we have to keep it here. And we have to do like this. One here, second, just have to close, loop, and pull towards yourself. 1, 2, 3, like this. So try with the 3. If something comes out from the mouth of the baby, this is for babies we do. This one small baby, we have to do like this. So we have to tap here above this is chest level, we call it thorax. So this level. So you have to do like this. Just rest, but hold their head like this with the cheekbones. So you have to do like this. So automatically whatever will be there obstructing trachea, like the windpipe, will come out. When it comes to adults and adults like this, you have to do. So I have shown you, there's a slide also, you can go back and connect it those slides. So there is a slide, it is showing how to do. For kids, you have to stand behind them like this. You have to keep them like this. The baby can stand, and you have to pull them towards you like this. So when it comes to adults, we have to pull towards like this. So there it will be like this side, and in adults we have to do like this. So you have to put pressure towards. You have to pull them. That's all.
Yeah.
What if someone puts the choking is in the nose, in the nostril? If a kid has put, say, a piece of a crayon or a seed or something in nostril, then do you have to rush to hospital immediately, or you can do some first aid?
Yes. Why? Because when anything goes in this nostril, like I had this. Okay, I had put that what do you call the turmeric seed. So I had inserted till here. So it was very painful. Why? Because we have our most sensitive part. We have very severe, like, सबसे ज़्यादा nerve supply to this part. If one dust particle also will make us sneeze. So if they have not sneezed and the thing is still there, you have to shift the baby to hospital. Why? Because the swelling will start, those five signs. So those will start, and this is constricted part. More swelling means it will start bleeding. So we have to shift the baby to hospital. Okay. Only the nosebleed you can manage at home, and that too only for 10 minutes. That case also you have to shift to hospital. Anything got obstructed, don't try to ask them like sneeze. So if they're toddler or like they can understand the command. What's wrong with this?
Yeah, we can hear you.
No, this is something on this.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can ask them that if they can understand your command and they can follow your commands, you have to tell them that which side it is. You have to ask them. If it is right side, then press the left side, like you can help them or they can do, and ask them to put little pressure. And if it is paining, then shift them to hospital. If it is not paining and it's coming down, okay, they are feeling a little relieved, means it will definitely come down. They have to put little more efforts to, like we do Om Bilom.
Yeah.
The same way you have to do this. Yeah. If it is right, then block the left side and ask them to take a deep breath so that there will be too much air to push that particular thing out. When it comes to prions and all, if they are not inserted more than the septum, then it can come out. If it is above the septum, it will cause bleeding. Yeah. So we have something called the tube connected to our eye also, station tube. So that should not get breached. So that is a medical emergency. So better if by with one they are relieved, you can ask them for second shot. But if it is not, if it is more painful, shift them to hospital.
Got it. Thank you.
Rupal, do you suggest that we all need to get trained for the first aid, or we can learn, or how do we get trained? What do you suggest?
You have to be trained. I will recommend why you will not. I'll give you one example. Like on this.
I think we are little late, 12:03. Sumit, is that okay if we take another 5 minutes because another cooking club will start?
Sure. Like it's fine. Just take your time.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So what we can do is, what I did is, I'll tell you my experience, why first aid is important. So I'll tell you my experience so that if you can empathize, so you can understand that if you keep yourself on my place. On 10th, I was going to office, the same uniform. I saw a guy, like his leg was broken in multiple pieces. Okay, and there was a hand totally twisted. What I did is I thought that there are many people that will help him because they were asking him to drink water, milk, coconut water, coconut water. So they were giving him, but no one was taking care of that particular wound. So I got to know. I immediately just did that first check. I checked that he is hydrated. Someone is there to help him. But that particular limb, which was like hanging down on the footpath, was not taken care. So there I immediately asked them to call for ambulance. They said they have already called the ambulances on the way. So in Bangalore and the traffic, we cannot believe them when they say that it is on the way. It will take time. So what I did is I immediately, there was a light and I immediately splinted it. There was a thermocol piece I had kept under his, if this is a hand, I had kept it under this, and there was a scarf I was wearing. I removed my helmet, removed the scarf, and I have splinted it. Okay, so after doing that, there were bleeders. He was bleeding profusely. So those bleeders I have pressurized, and I was holding those bleeders that time. After that, same thing I did to leg, same thing I did to hand. There was a stick on that tree, so I have on that stem. I have asked them to break that, and they broke. And with the rope, I had just splinted it here. I helped them to keep it there, and we shifted that casualty in 15 minutes to People Tree Hospital, Gurgaon, Palia. And you will not believe, with profuse bleeding, there was a decision. They were like, if in case they will not be able to revive those particular blood vessels, who are collapsed because there was no blood supply in that particular part. They could have asked them to amputate that limb. And that they had put rod in his leg and had also, so 3 days back, I went to meet him. After meeting me, he started crying. After seeing me, he said, "Madam, I thought you will never come back." So, and he was telling his father, "This is the madam who had given me first aid. This is the madam who saved my leg." His wife was pregnant and he was going through a lot. But that happiness, that actually gives you, like, you saved someone's father, you saved someone's brother or son or husband, you saved someone's life. It is very important. Today we will do for someone, someone will do for us. Why? Because if we believe, like, see, most of the deaths in India after 60 is because of the comorbidities and disease conditions. But if it is before 60 and there is no disease condition, these are only accidents. Heart attack and all these are medical issues. For that also we have first aids. We call it first aid only when it comes to defibrillate them or when we resuscitate them, giving CPR and all. So that is also there. But before 60, there's a major age group. It starts from baby of 2 days. There was a 2 days baby in KM Hospital, Pune, when I was doing my specialization. Mother dropped the baby and there was a neck injury for the baby. So the baby's head is still like this. The baby came for immunization of 1 year, then 2 years. So there were many immunizations. So the baby head was like this.
Yes, Rupal, we can continuously hear stories from you to understand how much important is first aid. So it is the first aid, the preparation of the awareness is not only for helping others, we ourselves can also do for our own self also. Like if we have trained properly in case of emergency, we can ask people to help you in doing the first aid. You can guide them.
You will live your life better. And
yes,
what we call in that Urdu word is befikri.
Yeah.
There will not be any figure. Yeah, ho gaya, so I will manage. I know what to do. Let my child play. It's okay. Jada se jada kya hoga? He'll get hurt. I will give the first aid.
Yes.
So that befikri, that will help you to allow your child to play, enjoy their life, explore more and learn more. So more they explore, more they learn. That is Arohi's principle.
Do you suggest any kind of first aid training for all of us to do? Something like that? Do you suggest any first aid training we need to do? Sorry?
There are many online courses. I have tied up with Red Cross and this Rotary Club. If in case I get anyone, like a professional first aider or who can come and teach and give certifications also. Provide certificates also for particular age group. I'll just check with them and let you know.
Yeah, sure. So then I can post it also, like whoever is interested to learn first aid, and it's important for all of us. And
I don't know how to manage time and this teaching and all.
Yeah, fine.
But I am very good first aider. So I first aid head injuries also, spine injuries also, and multiple fractures also, and small burns, So I feel very confident, and I think God allowed duties to only particular ones. You are confident that I can do it. Definitely, you will get the duty. You will get the work, or you will get to perform. So if you want to get the opportunity to perform, you have to be very confident and remove that fear that I cannot do. Everyone can do if they will learn and practice. We can practice on dummy and implement the same thing on the babies or on the victims. It's very easy. There is nothing. Just stop this and just do it.
Also, it's a caution that if we don't know, then we don't need to try. Because unless it is right and you're confident, you just,
Don't be the part of that crowd. Just call for help. It's okay, someone has called. Just check that they have called or not.
Yes.
It's very important. If you can give water bottle, if you can, like I was asking for a Caesar, I was asking for a blade when I had to cut his pant and see the bleeders. So people were there to help me. People were running, going in their cars, getting the rope and getting that blade, those blades, scissors from their cars, water, everything. to wash those wounds. So they have helped me. So you can be the part, you can do those duties also. So don't get panicked. Just observe that first is check. Just check and observe and learn. If you are not able to do, don't leave them. If you cannot help them, don't leave them. Just be there with them. Just observe what others are doing. Because if it has to happen, it will happen. If he have to get the care, he will definitely get the care. One or another person will come. There was a doctor also. But she was just, when she came, everything was done and we were shifting. And she said that the job is done. And I proudly said I'm a qualified nurse. So that is proud. So not only for proud, but I saved that life.
Yes, Rupal. So with this, yeah, we would like to end. It's already 12:11. So any one thing which you would like to share for us from your experience about first aid, what is important?
Most important is just learn it and be certified. I want everyone to learn this.
Yeah.
If you learn, definitely you will feel like, if you have money, definitely you will feel like spending it. So it's like, if you have knowledge, you will definitely one day, I'm telling you, definitely you will get the opportunity to implement it on the ground. And you will be very proud of it.
Yeah.
If you're the part of society, it's your prime role or responsibility to learn it. You have to learn it. If it's like it, I would have asked you have to learn it. But for guys, I'll say it's very good to learn.
Yeah. Thank you.
Will not go away. It is very important to learn.
Yeah, thank you, Rupal, for really, in spite of your busy schedule, you have made some time for us. And yes. Okay. Just to close with the session, whatever you like, any one skill you think we need for first aid, you'd like to share whatever you have been hearing from Rupal from the last 1 hour. So whatever you think, one skill we need for becoming a good first aid trainer. You can share on chat or come on mic and you can share.
It might be everything.
Quick assessment.
Sorry?
A quick assessment.
Assessment, yeah. Preparedness. Yeah, let's share on Discord. Aditi is telling as it's late. Yeah. Yes, since it's already late. Thank you so much, Rupal, for joining us. So about this first aid training, if you all want to know more information, you can just post it on Discord. I will give the message to Rupal. And if any chance, if we need any kind of information, we can definitely call Rupal. Rupal is always helpful for us.
Come to campus also, but after wave 2.
Yeah. Yes. For any kind of training, she said she will be helping us also if you want. So she will share that.
Together, we will keep.
Yeah, definitely. We will take care. Thanks once again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.